Hello everyone, today we will be installing Mybb via Softaculous in your Cpanel. So once you're logged into your Cpanel, you want to find the Softaculous icon. Depending on the layout, it's usually under the Software/Services area, but it could be in a different location. So you just want to look for this icon here and go ahead and click on that. And once you've clicked on that, that will pull up your Softaculous page. So you should see a page much like this. And Mybb is often in the top scripts area, but if you don't see it there, you can simply go over here into the left menu, find Forums, and then click the little arrow there, and you'll see it right here under Forums. So you can click on that in either location. We'll go ahead and click there, and you'll see it'll bring up the Mybb with a little description about it, and then an install button up here at the top. So we'll go ahead and click the install button to start the installation, and that's going to bring up the software setup page. And the page can look a little bit confusing, but it's not that difficult, so we'll step through each option here. The first thing you'll see is choose protocol, and the HTTP is fine. You also have an option of like HTTPS if you've got a SSL certificate installed, but in most cases HTTP is what you want to use there. So that's what we'll leave there. Then you'll see choose domain. What this is for is if your hosting provider allows you to have multiple domains within the account, so like add-on domains or subdomains, then you'll see in the drop-down you can select between those different domains. If you've only got one domain, then you'll leave that as is and just move on to the next option. And here you'll see in directory, and this part is generally the most confusing to people. What this is really for is it's asking a folder name. So for example, it's got mybb as default in there, so you would go to domain.com/mybb is where it would actually install to. So you may want to change that. You may want to just delete it so it installs directly to your domain, so then you would just go to say domain.com to see the forum. Or you may want something like domain.com/forum. So in that case, you type in forum there. The next thing down, you will see database name. This you can leave it as the default. Now you may also want to change it if you do have quite a few different domains that are in your hosting account. Then you may want to change this to something easier to remember as far as which domain it's going with. So put in the domain, or put in forum, something like that, so that you know which one it is. Now in our case we've only got one domain, so we only have the one database, so it's obvious which one, which site that database goes to, so we'll leave that as default. And below that you will see the board settings section. Now this portion is really more like a personal preference. You don't have to specify anything in here as far as the server or that type of thing. It's all just your site name. So what do you want to appear like at the top of the forums as far as your site name, the board name, what do you want to call them? So domain.com forums or something like that. Then the board email, you'll want this to be an email either with your domain name or like your own personal email address. What this is for is when, so for example, if someone signs up to be a member of the forum, they're going to get an email, saying welcome to the forum type of thing, and it's going to show as from this address you type in here. So that's what that's for. Then below that you'll have a MySQL database prefix. You can leave that as default. It's fine. You can change that as well if you want, or even remove it if you want to. Generally I just leave it as the default. There's nothing wrong with that. Below that you'll see admin account, and under the admin account you have the simple things like admin username. So you want to put in a username. You can leave it as admin, but it's usually a good idea to change that, as obviously a lot of forums out there, websites in general, are using admin as the back-end username, so it's good to have something a little harder for someone to guess if they're trying to get in. Then below that you'll have password. You can put in you definitely want to change that from pass. That's way too easy for someone to guess. You can type in your own, just make sure it's something you can remember, or this little key here, you can click that and it will add in randomly generated ones, and you just want to make sure to write that down once it's generated one for you so that you can then log in later. Below that you'll have admin email address, and this you just want to change to your own email address. Essentially that's if you forget your password, you can have it reset. It'll send you notifications, if someone replies to a posting you've made, that sort of thing. That's going to go to the admin email. Below that you will have choose language, and so Mybb does include quite a few languages available. So you'll select which one you want, and in fact it does have two versions of English. It will have the English version and then the English for United Kingdom. They're both English, but obviously like some symbols are different, so instead of a $, it's got the British pound symbol, that sort of thing between the two. So we'll just stick with English. Then below that you have the advanced options. This is basically a checkbox to turn off notifications if there's an update available, which you generally don't want to do. If there's an update available, there's usually a reason for that update, whether it's a security hole or something like that they've corrected, and so you want to know that update's there, because then you can come into Softaculous and you'll see a little icon to update, and you'll just go ahead and click that and it will update your script to the newest version. So I don't recommend checking that box. And then below that you'll see the install button, but we'll skip over that for just a second. And what you have here is it will email installation details. So a lot of this information up here, if you put in your email address here, it will email that to you. So then you have a record, you can keep that, and if you have to go back to it, forget a password or you forget what the database name was, that sort of thing, then you can go back to that email to check on those sorts of things. So it's usually a good idea to go ahead and put in your email there. Once you've done that, you just go ahead and click on the install button here. It'll bring up this page here, and it's going to show you here like a percentage of where the install is at. It usually doesn't take it very long, maybe a couple minutes at the most. I've never seen it take longer than 4 or 5 minutes though, and that's on a slower hosting provider. Depending on your hosting provider, it may be done in 15 to 30 seconds, and you can see how quick this one's jumping up there. So it only takes it a minute to install there. And you can see once it completes, it pops up a message like this. It'll say congratulations, software has been installed, and it's going to give you a couple of links. You'll have a link to where it installed the form, as well as the admin URL. So you want to make sure to save the admin URL at the very least. That way you know to get back into your admin page. So at that point you're all set. You can go ahead and log into the admin, start creating your categories, and your form is ready to go.